Every year, the holiday of Chanukah takes place in a time of the year when it's the most darkest, when the daylight is at its shortest hours. And so, it's interesting that in 1938, if we want to talk about darkness, the world was thrown into darkness, the darkness of the rise of Hitler and his death machine. And so, it happened to be that there was a man called Judah Greyer, who lived in Berlin, who decided after what he saw on Kristallnacht night, the night in which they smashed the windows and looted thousands of Jewish shops, that he had foresight. He decided, it's time for me to get out of this cursed country. So luckily, he was able to apply for visas for him, his wife Regina, and his two children, Arnold and Ruth. And they were able to they obtained visas to leave Germany, but not so fast. They had to buy tickets for a train. And it was already very dangerous. Gestapo officers were everywhere, Nazi soldiers everywhere. So they got on the train and they were able to take their places in the second-class compartment. And there they were, petrified, because it was the 8th day of Chanukah. And Judah Greyer wasn't himself. He was very anxious. His wife looked at him and she said, what's the problem? And he said, you know, I was the chazan of the shul all my life. I had the opportunity and the privilege to lead the services as the cantor. Never in my life did I ever miss lighting the candles of the Chanukah once. And now, today, for the first time in my life, I might miss lighting the candles. And she said to her husband, Regina said to Judah, listen, God knows your heart. He knows your intent. He knows you'd love to be able to light the Chanukah. But under these situations, under these conditions, in which Nazis lurk everywhere, it would be suicidal to even try. And so there they were on the train, freezing in fear, wondering what's going to be. They knew that the train would stop at the border where they were crossing into Holland. And that when they would make the stop on the platform of that train, the Nazi officers would come in to check everyone's papers. And who knows what would happen. If you gave them the wrong answer, it could be the difference between life and death, between spending the rest of your life in a concentration camp or imprisonment forever. So they were petrified. But she saw her husband wasn't happy. He wasn't comfortable with the response. He really wanted to figure out a way to light the menorah. After all, he had never missed lighting the menorah. And now the train arrived at the border, at the last stop where Germany ends and Holland takes over. And on the platform, as the train came to a halting screech and a stop, they saw Gestapo officers, Nazi officers with guns and machines, menacing, mean-looking people, getting ready to board the train. And suddenly, something amazing happened. The lights went out in the train station, as well as in the train. All the electricity went down. Judah was amazing. He got up off his feet. He looked and searched for his coat, and in his coat he had candles. He did something which was unbelievably courageous. He lit a fire under one candle. He warmed up the bottom of all 8 other candles, and he stuck all 8 candles on the windowsill of the train. And he said the bracha, and he let them know this was at the risk of his life, when suddenly the Nazi officer on the platform saw that there was light in the train. They climbed on the train, and Judah's heart was thumping like it was going to come out of his chest. And the Nazi officers came on board. They thought that was it. They were going to kill them because they lit a menorah. Something amazing happened. The Nazi officer looks at him. He goes, that's quick thinking. We're going to use the light of these candles to look at everyone's passports. And so for the next 20 minutes, with frozen fear, the Nazi officers started checking everyone's passports. And all the passports were in order. At the end, something miraculous happened. The Nazi officer looks at Judah and he goes, that was amazing foresight that you had the idea to bring candles along in case something would happen. I have to commend you for that. And he took out a $20 marked bill and he gave it to him. And then they left the train station. Judah looked at his son. He was with tears coming down his eyes. He goes, you realize what just happened? An absolute miracle. They should have killed us for lighting the menorah. We're Jews. Instead, they thought it was a simple candle. You know, it says in the Amidah, in the Shmona Esrei, we say, Al Nisim, Sha'asal Abotenu Bayamim Ahem Bazman Hazer. We thank Hashem for the miracles that He did for our forefathers. But we saw a miracle tonight, Judah said to his son Arnold. We'll never forget this miracle, the miracle in which we were supposed to have been killed for lighting the menorah, but because Judah had the Mesiras Nefesh, that he was able to sacrifice and give up his life for a mitzvah, Hashem saved him, allowed him to light the menorah, and allowed him to escape with his family to freedom.